welcome back to another Kraken Packs video. I am your host, MrBevers. That's right, we're back again with 3 more packs of original Innistrad. I don't know, is that spooky enough? I have no idea. We're gonna get these set up here to the side like so. We're going to do an art appreciation. Welcome back to the art appreciation series, where we take a much closer look at the art on these cards. Because why not, right? So expect it to be slow, expect it to be a long one, because we're gonna talk about all of these cards. So there's hysterical blindness, right? Look at these guys. The panic is amusing, but the real fun comes when the spell passes and the villagers start looking for a scapegoat. You can see the eyes. We talked about this in the last episode, I believe. Yeah, the eyes got this kind of weird, blue, kind of I don't know, necrotic energy to them, which makes sense since it's Ludovic, Necro Alchemist, talking. We've got a voiceless spirit. Gorgeous art on this card as well. You can see the lanterns hanging from the chains, swinging all about. And obviously it's sort of in front of a mausoleum that looks like it might be, not kept very well, as one of those pillars is shattered. Very nice looking art, though. Ghoul Caller's Chant. Great little card. Get to return 2 zombies or 1 creature. And you can see it's kind of like a zombie's hand reaching out from a sarcophagus. Right? The thing about this set was that it basically was just very gothic feeling, and that is why I loved the set. I mean, it's one of the reasons I love the set. I really enjoy gothic motifs and things like that. So here's Deadweight. So this is something that's been reprinted in Ikoria. So we are going to see a lot of this probably in limited and that kind of stuff. It's not really standard playable. It's a little bit too slow to be standard playable. Though I think people are playing it with, what is that? The cat? Luris? Because it's a 1-drop enchantment that can basically be used as removal. So people are playing it because you can replay it from the graveyard, right? But as you can see on this one, the Deadweight is much more clear on this one than it is on the art for the new copy. The new copy looks good, but I don't know. It doesn't give you the same feel as lugging around this weight that basically leaves you to getting murdered, because that's basically what that looks like. So if we go back and take a look, right? I mean, if you see here, right, there is this guy pulling this big heavy weight down. Right, but there's also a shadow of something here, which looks like possibly a vampire of sorts or something, ready to just murder this guy, right? And because he's got this weight attached to him, he can't get away, right? Hence, dead weight, right? Basically, that's the feeling I get from it. This one's fun. It's one of those flashback cards, right? Tap up to 2 target creatures. Flashback for 1 in a blue, right? Not too shabby there. But you got those birds. Feeling of dread. Heavily, I would assume, heavily inspired by Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock, right? That's my guess. Nightbird's Clutches. Ooh. This is a fun one, too. So this is, you can see this, lovely lady here being just gripped up by those talons and taken away. Unfortunately for this person right here. Doesn't seem great. So this is up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn. Flashback. So this almost the art for this almost looks like it's an active treason type thing, but it's not really, because I mean it's just preventing them from blocking. So I guess you're distracting them. Is it kind of the idea? Up to 2 target creatures, because so this one can't block and neither can that one, because you've made it distracted by gripping the other. I don't know. Maybe that's the premise behind the art there. I don't know. You tell me below what you think. Here you go. This is the Dark Thicket Wolf. Looks very fearsome. Definitely don't want to meet that in the forest by yourself, that's for sure. But like I said before, just a misunderstood doggo. That's all this is, right? Just a misunderstood doggo. Because I mean, it's just a wolf, right? It's not a werewolf. Caravan Vigil. So this is an interesting little card. So it says search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Or if morbid, so morbid is if something has died this turn, you may put the card onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your hand. If a creature died this turn, right? So that's basically what it says. Interesting thing about this is it doesn't say tapped. So this is search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield if something has died, and not tapped. So that's kind of interesting. Caravan Vigil. Let's take a look at the art. You can see here the nice little Avacyn icon up here on this side. Right? And it's basically just like a caravan. So you've got all the different carts and stuff. Looks like they're carrying corpses, though. These guys are carrying corpses. I don't know if... I mean, I guess that's the whole vigil part, right? Caravan Vigil is like they're doing like taking a mass amount of people to graves or something. I don't know. This is not great. Not ideal, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, I guess. Abbey Griffin. The Abbey in this looks very familiar. Where do I know this from? I want to say this is on one of the land cards from either this set or the Shadows over Innistrad set. Is that the case? I want to say it is. The darkness crawls with vampires and ghouls, but we are not without allies. I don't know. It looks very familiar. I'm sure it'll come to me, or maybe someone can mention it in the comments. Boneyard Worm. Look at this thing. That is definitely a thing that has eaten one too many skeletons, if you ask me. Right? The only thing it likes more than discovering a pit of bones is adding to it. So maybe it doesn't eat the bones, but it likes to hang out in the bones. And you can see the bones down here. Those appear to all be bones littered about. My goodness. That's our first uncommon from that pack. Then we got Desperate Ravings. Right? I mean, it looks like this person's got something to say, right? Whether the thing that they're saying is accurate or not is a different question entirely, but let's see. Can you focus? Focus? Focus! There we go. Look at that. There it is. Definitely looks like she has something to say. That's for sure. Intangible Virtue. 2-mana little enchantment that says creature tokens you control have +1/+1 in vigilance. This was a big standout in limited because there were so many things that made like spirit tokens and stuff. So then your spirits become 2/2 vigilance flyers, which is pretty crazy. And then if you stacked these, because it's only an uncommon, you could have bigger flyers that were vigilance. And you can see, like, I mean, it's like, that looks like the Avacyn logo there, maybe. Kind of looks like it. And then all the spirits kind of like flying in toward it. It's kind of cool. And our rare is the Undead Alchemist. This is a fun card. So this is the card I was talking about a little while ago, where it's like if a zombie you control would deal combat damage to a player, instead that player puts that many cards from the top of their library into their graveyard. And whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from his or her library, exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. So you exile those creatures, they get milled, so they're just gone. And then you get 2/2 zombies for it, which is pretty crazy. And then you can see this guy here. He's pretty stitched together. And in fact, looks to be like rotting as well or something. I don't know what this weird, like the green, because it's almost like I was going to say, like the top of his head looks like brain matter, right? But then it's on like his shoulder and his back and like down through his arms and stuff. So it must just be like weird, degeneration of the flesh, I guess, or something like that. Who knows? And then we got a sweet zombie token. There you go. Good old zombie token. It's a nice looking one as well. I think there was several different arts for the 2/2 zombies in this set, if I remember correctly. And then you get your flip card. Your flip card here is a Tormented Pariah. So it's a 4 mana 3/2 that says at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Tormented Pariah, and it transforms into Rampaging Werewolf. And you can see, like, it's basically the same art, right? Like, these two dudes are like, ah, get him. And then this thing's like, hey, guess what? Like, is it this dude that's turning into the werewolf, or is it this dude? Or is, I guess this dude here is the guy that's on the ground underneath the werewolf here. I don't know which one is which. I don't know which one is which. It's very hard to tell. But then those two dudes are definitely those two dudes. Right? So basically it just turns into a 6/4. Very cool. Very cool. And then, of course, we got the planes. There it is. Gorgeous looking art on those basic lands, as always. Let's open the next pack. Now that we've spent 10 minutes on that first pack, let's open the next pack. Let's see what we find. Ooh, Cobbled Wings. This is a fun one. So, it's a 2 mana equipment that says equipped creature has flying, equipped for 1. So it's basically just like an equipment that gives you flying, but it only takes 1 to equip, which is not too shabby. This card could definitely do some work. The problem is that in limited in this format, there were a lot of flyers, so just giving a creature flying for like 1 mana and equipment, like you'd rather have just like a more playable card. So this card didn't really see a lot of play in limited. And if it did, it was around specific decks, like things that had like lots of Boneyard Worms or something in them, so that they could make their big things flying, and then you're good to go. Skeletal Grimace. Little peeling back the face there. We talked about this in one of the previous videos as well. Look at that. Just absolutely weird looking. Like, that's just... Like, where did the nose go? That's what I want to know. In which direction did the nose go? Because this is peeled back the face, right? There's the lip. It's peeled back all the skin around here, but, like, the nose is gone. So, like, did the nose go up under the hat? Or did it, like, go off to that side? That's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm curious about. Avacyn's Pilgrim, another good one here. Little 1-drop, sees a lot of play in a lot of cubes and things like that. Because it's just a basic mana dork, which is great, because it's a 1 mana, 1/1 for green, and then but it adds a white. So it gives you a fixing for one of your colors if you need it, or just gives you an extra mana on turn 2, right? If you need it. So not bad. And then your art here, of course you can tell, got the little Avacyn's logo there on a staff, because of course it's Avacyn's Pilgrim, so why wouldn't they have the Avacyn logo? Ancient Grudge, this is a good one too. So this saw a dollar value attached to it for a little while, mainly because it's a 2 mana destroy target artifact instant that has a flashback for 1 green, so it can blow up 2 artifacts for only 3 mana, which is pretty good actually when you think about it. And I mean, you can see here, obviously this werewolf is just absolutely destroying this Avacyn's logo here. Obviously some sort of like chalice or some device, right? We've got a Smite the Monstrous. This one we talked about in a previous video too. It looks like it's the moon that is like smiting this guy. So I don't think anybody left a comment last time, but I still don't know. Is there a type of demon or werewolf or something that like takes damage from moonlight? Is moonlight a thing that does stuff? Through the old holy wards and roadside shrines have begun to fall. Sorry, though the old holy wards and roadside shrines have begun to fall, faith in Avacyn will still holds true power. I don't know. And maybe it's not the moon, maybe it's just like, you know, divine celestial light or something like that, and it's smoting a zombie, which would make sense. Armored Scab. Again, another guy that you don't really want to meet on the beach. It looks like he's kind of like beat these dudes up and taken their armor, though. Right? It's kind of like hodgepodge armor he's got going on. Ooh, we got a Blazing Torch. The interesting thing about this is that if you look at this is actually just an Avacyn's sigil being used as a torch, which is like really cool, actually. when you think about it, right? It's like a divine symbol, but it's also a light source, which is kind of cool. And so like this is a 1-mana equipment that says equipped creature can't be blocked by vampires and zombies, or you can equip the equipped creature has tap this, sacrifice Blazing Torch, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and it only equips for 1. So Blazing Torch was very good in limited as well, just because it was like something that you could essentially ping things for 2 damage. Stitcher's Apprentice, it's a big eyeball, a big old eyeball with another eyeball. Now, do you think he's like, you know, mucking about with another one of his homunculus? Like, is that another homunculus and he's like trying to steal its eye or like fix it, or what do you think it's doing? It says put a 2/2 homunculus creature token on the battlefield, then sacrifice a creature. So he's basically making a homunculus, but sacking another creature to do so. So do you think that art represents him creating the new homunculus or sacrificing the homunculus to make another? That's the question I ask. Walking Corpse. Just a good old-fashioned zombie walking through a graveyard. But you can also see here in the background, there's the Avacyn sigil again, right? Obviously as a tombstone, so that's kind of interesting. And there's a bat back here in the background, if you can see that. Obviously, maybe a little vampire checking in on things, seeing how it's going. Who knows? Oh, there you go. Spider spawning. This was the card that everyone tried to make work in Limited. This was the card that everyone was like, I'm going to draft the spider spawning deck and it's going to be amazing, and they're not even going to know what hit them. And the problem is that so many people went into that archetype that it just never really worked out unless you got super lucky. So for 5 mana, put a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach onto the battlefield for each creature card in your graveyard, and flashback for 7, 6 and a black. So basically, you play this on turn 6, maybe on turn 7 you flash it back, you get probably somewhere between 5 to 7 spiders, if not more, depending on what your deck's been doing for the majority of the game. And that's enough to just basically run over your opponent then at that point, right? So, interesting little card. And of course, you can see spiders. Everybody loves spiders, right? Who doesn't like this many spiders? Look at them all. How many you got on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11-ish. Oh, there's one over there too, 12. So there's probably one hiding in the shadows over here. So, there's a lot of spiders. Put it that way. There's a lot of spiders. We've got Moan of the Unhallowed here, which is a 4-mana sorcery that says put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, and it has a flashback for 7. This card actually saved me in a few limited drafts, mainly just because it puts 2 bodies on the table for 4 mana, which is sometimes all you need to get through a turn, like blocking, to be able to crack back for lethal the following turn. So it saved me a few games actually. Especially since it does have the flashback, so you can then flash it back to get another 2 bodies, which is very nice. Wreath of Geists. You've got a 1 mana here, Enchant Aura. It says enchanted creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Another thing that matters for like spider spawning, right? There you go. Doesn't give trample though, unfortunately, but there is this. And you can see here, it's like actually like a ring of Geists around this person. Right, so he's obviously being empowered by all the things in the graveyard because their spirits have come back to help. And it's just like this weird ring of spirits floating around. Super cool looking. Oh, look at that. We got the tree. Tree of Redemption. This is the card that everybody's like, oh no, we hate that card. I can't believe people are doing this. I can't believe they reprinted this in, what was it, Iconic Masters? Or was it Masters 25? Masters 25 that had the tree? And everyone was super upset about it. This card does work in the right deck. This card is great in Arcades, Commander deck. I murdered somebody with one of these a little while ago on stream. Because it's a 0/13, right, with Defender, and exchange your life total with the Tree of Redemption's toughness, right? So with Arcades, they deal damage based on their toughness. And so what you do is I put the boots on this to give it haste. I had the enchantment out that says all my creatures have vigilance. I swung with this and then tapped it and replaced its life total, like, so its toughness went from 13 to 28 or something like that, and hit the opponent for 28, right? So and killed them, right? They weren't expecting it, but it happened, right? So that's, not a bad little card. And then we've got the token here, which means that our flip card, so like that's just like an ad. And then we got the checklist card, which means our flip is a rare. Is that how this works? I don't even know. Last time the land was on the back. Right, and the land is yours. I gotta make sure that that land was yours. See, I put it into the pile there. I just was like, put it into the basic land pile over there. It's not. It's Brad's. We gotta make sure Brad gets these back. Big shout out to Brad, by the way. Anyway, so we got a rare here, Kurin Outlaw, which is a 3-mana human rogue werewolf with first strike, 2/2. And it says at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast, you flip it, and it flips into Terror of Cruin Pass. Terror of Cruin Pass. And that makes it a 3/3 with double strike. But it says each werewolf you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So it basically gives your werewolves menace, which is pretty cool. And it's a little 2/2 first striker for 3, which is not bad either. Not too shabby. And I mean, like, the art here on here, you can see, like, looking to ambush whoever this is. There's like some sort of dude walking by, looking to ambush, and instead ready to just absolutely destroy everything. Right? No longer an ambusher. Now it's time to wreck everything. Went from being, Robin Hood, outlaw or whatever, to being straight up just a terror, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, this person is the worst. Festerhide Boar, a little 3/3 trampler for 4. That says if a creature died this turn, it comes in with 2/1/1 counters on it. It makes it a 5/5 trampler for 4, which is very good value. And of course, the Festerhide, it just looks like a boar that's rotting, right? It just doesn't look pleasant. You definitely don't want to get anywhere near this boar, I would imagine. Gruesome Deformity. Oof, man. Imagine looking into a bowl and seeing that and being like, no, what happened? Because like that's the look that's on her face right there. Is like, uh-oh. What? Whoa, man, I had too much to drink last night. What happened? Right? Because like, you're waking up in the morning to wash your face, and all of a sudden you see this, and you're like, that doesn't look good. I should probably call a doctor of some kind. Seems like it. Maw of the Mire. That is an interesting depiction of what appears to be zombie hands, but like, are they made out of people? Like, the hands look like they might be made out of people. Destroy target land, you gain 4 life. I don't know. Interesting. Can't tell whether it's hands, or like whether the hands are made of people or whether they're made of like tree roots, which is possible to both. Corpse Lunge, right? Look at this. Like, open the closet and all of a sudden a corpse like just like flies out and grapples you, and you're like, what? This guy looks like he's extremely shocked about what's going on. This is an additional cost to cast Corpse Lunge. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Corpse Lunge deals damage equal to the exiled creature's power and to target creature. It's a good one. Solid art on that card, I have to say. Typhoid Rats. There you go. The little rats. This is like this is like that movie, right? Ratatouille. It just looks like that nice like French kitchen kind of thing. You got all your like thing, and then there's just rats everywhere, and you're like, it's time to move. I think it's time to move. That's my guess. Traitorous Blood. So you can see here, this is like you can see how may have been flying in one direction, and then like the head turns, and it's like, I'm coming back this way. And that's the red that's hit its face and is making it turn around on its owner, which is pretty cool looking. And of course, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains trample and haste. Gains trample and haste. Very interesting that it gains trample as well. Not a thing that you see that often anymore. Okay, we've got Markov Practitioner. Or Patrician? Markov Patrician? Yeah, sure. That's what we got. 3 mana Vampire. It's a 3/1 lifelinker. Looks like they're having a suave evening. Do you think that's wine in that glass? I mean, it looks kind of purpley, right? It looks like it might not be blood, right? You don't know. Maybe it's not blood. Maybe she's just enjoying a nice red wine, Stitcher's Apprentice, we saw this one already. Leave your comments below. What do you think? Making or destroying? What do you think this homunculus is doing to this other homunculus? Destroying it to make a new one, or making that one as the new one? Mulch. 2 mana sorcery that says reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all land cards revealed this way into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. This was a great one for things like the Boneyard Worm and things like that, or spider spawning, because you basically toss your creatures into the graveyard, which is what you want for spider spawning, because then you can... and even if you toss spider spawning into the graveyard, it doesn't matter to you because it has flashback. So yeah, you don't get as many casts out of it as you would have if you had it in your hand, but at least then you can cast it, right? So Mulch was very key to this set in Limited, right? It was very good for turning on a lot of the decks in this format. Slayer of the Wicked. So we've got a 3/2 for 4 mana that says... when Slayer of the Wicked enters the battlefield, you may destroy target vampire, werewolf, or zombie. So there you go. Not a bad little thing. Lets you go and just like murder one of those ugly beasters, right? And there were a lot of vampires, werewolves, and zombies in this set. So makes sense. And you can see, it looks like there's a priest of Avacyn blessing this guy who's got a stake. And so he's like a champion. Slayer of the Wicked, right? Trepanation Blade. I love this card. And not just for the art. The art is gorgeous, by the way. Like, look at this thing. It's like this weird twisted blade dagger with like smoke essence or something going up through the middle of it. It's really cool looking. Really, really cool looking. But not only that, it's a 3 mana equipment that says whenever equipped creature attacks defending player, reveal cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card. The creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each card revealed this way. That player puts the revealed cards into their graveyard. Card was great. This card is great in a mill deck. Any kind of mill deck, this card is amazing. Invisible Stalker. There you go. Invisible Stalker, a great one to put the Trepanation Blade onto because it has hexproof and is unblockable. So it gets to swing, mill them a bunch, and hit them for, somewhere between probably at least... you get 2 damage regardless, right? Because it gives +1 for the land. And then if you hit more than just 1 card, it does more, right? So great little thing. And as you can see here, you can't really see, right? As you can not see here, there is a dude there. Or a lady there. I don't know whether it's a man or a woman. Can you tell? I can't really tell. It's a tricorn hat, I guess. It doesn't really tell you much, to be honest. And a coat that looks like it's coming off, probably to mask their whereabouts, would be my assumption. So there you go. Cool little card there. Ooh, and a Stony Silence. Well, that's a big hit. It's not like huge, crazy price anymore. It used to be worth quite a bit more than it is now, but it's been reprinted a few times, which is probably why it's come down in price. But very good little card. 2 mana enchantment that says activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. That's it. Just turns off a whole bunch of things. And the art on it is gorgeous as well. It's like basically like a stone gargoyle type thing, I guess, or maybe like a metallic type dragon thing. I don't know exactly what this is that's in this picture, but like I'm sure it's on another Magic card and I just don't know. So that's probably more likely. But just gorgeous art, and basically just like, laying in the dirt, unable to move, fire all around it because it can't do anything, right? Very cool, very cool. And then, of course, your add card and your checklist card. And your flip card is Gatstaff Shepherd, which you can see here, is a 2/2 for 2 that says at the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform Gadstaff Shepherd. What is worse than a wolf in sheep's clothing? Wolf Hunter Riddle. And it's not on the back. It's not on the back. But we know what's worse, right? What is worse than a wolf in sheep's clothing? A wolf in human form, right? I think that's the what's worse, right? Because it's the Gadstaff Howler here, right? So you've got Intimidate, and then it's just a 3/3 with Intimidate. And for those of you who don't know what Intimidate is, there it is right there. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. So Intimidate is also a very good mechanic from this type of set. Very good and limited, that kind of stuff. So there you have it, everybody. Another 30-minute video going over some of the art and appreciating it. And thank you so much to Brad for supplying me with the packs and the box to open and share with all of you. So look for this video next Tuesday, most likely, while we figure out what we can do for Friday videos moving forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I have been your host, MrBevers, and as always, may your pulls ever be better.